Stitchy friends. Today is Saturday, May 30th. My name is Andrew and this is the Runner Stitcher, and I am here to film a stitch with me today. So we are going to work again on my mystery full coverage piece that I've been working on, and we're just going to sit down and stitch a little bit. So I'm excited to spend a little bit of time with you. I hope you can grab a project and just stitch along with me. That's the goal of this, is to get some stitches into whatever project you're working on, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So I'm gonna have a video up here, or a video on the screen of a close-up of the stitching. And again, I'm not going to share the pattern today. I'm just going to kind of stitch and chat with you, and we'll see how far I get. So this is my starting point right here. You'll see I did fully complete this diagonal. So we're just going to start right back up here at the top and work through the frame. I don't think we're going to get into this section right here, although that's going to be a really fun one to see what all is revealed in this diagonal. But we'll definitely get like a good portion of the frame done up here. So that's where we'll be working on. And yeah, I'm really grateful you're here to join me. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me where we can just sit down, relax, and stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. There might be moments of silence in this as I'm sort of stitching, or as I'm kind of getting things together. And I know most of you have said that that's okay, you don't mind the silence. So I appreciate that. And yeah, we'll just get started here. So in a brand new diagonal like this, I do tend to start with the threads that I already have parked, just to sort of get them out of the way. So I'm going to just pull these two threads right here. And kind of start going with those. So since the last time we spoke, I know we had a holiday weekend. I hope you all had a wonderful longer weekend if you had an extra day for Memorial Day here in the States, or I even think in the UK there was a bank holiday as well. So hopefully you were able to enjoy the longer weekend. I definitely enjoyed it. It was sort of my final weekend before work started. So I was able to just enjoy the last of, I guess you could say, my freedom before work started. I'm going to see if I can pull this Q-snap a little bit tighter. I think I got a little loose. It's funny, when I'm working with full coverage, I do really like my fabric to be really taut and really tight. I think it just kind of works better with this method, and easier to kind of see the holes. And a number of you mentioned that you like to loosen the Q-snap before or at the end of your work session. So if you're done stitching for the day, you'll sort of loosen the Q-snap up a little bit. And I actually think that's a great idea. So I am going to start doing that. When I'm done stitching, I will loosen it up a little bit, because it does sort of loosen anyway, and then I just find I'm continually tightening the same section of the fabric. So if I loosen it up a little bit, then it's not, I feel like that's a little bit better for the fabric. But yeah, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and I hope you had a great week so far this week. I know for a lot of people, there's been a lot of just stuff going on. There's been a lot of life happening for people in the last week or so, and so I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're able to find some time to just relax and stitch. I know that's my coping mechanism for sure, is to take that time to relax and stitch. And just remember that even though this is a difficult time we're going through, it won't last forever. I think there is something to that we can trust, that this season is just a season, and it will pass. Just like the good times pass, the bad times will pass as well. This morning I set my alarm early to go for a run, and I woke up and I really just did not feel like going for a run, which is a interesting because usually in the mornings I'm pretty ready to go. Today I just did not feel like it, and but I did it anyway. I did get up out of bed, get ready, and went for the run, and it ended up being a really nice day. It was actually cooler here in the city. I think it was only 58 degrees when I left for the run, and it was a very windy, like kind of blustery day, so I think it felt even colder than 58 degrees. And because it's spring and all the pollen is in the air everywhere, there was just a lot of stuff flying around, which is not always the best when it comes to running conditions, to have all this pollen and stuff flying at you. But it was still a really nice run. I went to Central Park and just spent some time there, and yeah, it was good. Came back and fed Winston. Yeah, I made a little breakfast for myself. This morning I just had scrambled eggs and potatoes and avocado. And that was actually pretty filling. The potatoes were left over from my dinner last night. I had salmon and potatoes. So I just reused those potatoes this morning for breakfast. I'm going to rearrange my tools here. Yeah, so that was nice. And I'm still kind of waking up a little bit. I do have my coffee here to help me throughout. Because I do enjoy having coffee with you as we stitch. Sorry, and I will try not to bump the close-up camera with my head. Even though I have this sort of setup kind of down pat now, there's still some tricky parts about it, and sometimes I still forget where the camera is in relation to my head, so I still bump it. I also thought now would be a good time to film, after I had breakfast and I'm still having my coffee, because hopefully you can hear it, but the birds are just outside singing away. Hopefully the microphone is picking that up a little bit. But yeah, they are just singing away. They were singing away on my run too this morning. And I thought, well, if the birds can get up and sing, I can get up and run. So I did, and I definitely felt good afterwards. I ran 10 miles, which was basically 10 miles is from my apartment to Central Park, one loop of Central Park, and then back is a 10-mile sort of route that I can take. And so yeah, that's what I did. Winston, of course, is hearing the neighbors. So yeah, I actually had a really good week this week. As you know, I started back to work, and there was definitely a lot of nerves and anxiety about going back. Anytime you're starting a new job, there's just so much to learn. There's the office dynamics to learn, the people to learn, and the job itself to learn new information. And especially in this role, it was switching industries completely, and so just a lot of lingo and words that I'm not familiar with that they use in their industry. And so there was definitely a lot of sort of anxiety going into the week, and just kind of not knowing exactly where my office was going to be or what it was going to seem like. And yeah, it all went really well. I think it's really going to be a good fit for at least right now, and it's definitely giving me more experience in bookkeeping, and who knows where that will take me in the future, but I'm excited to find out and stick it out. So the good thing is I do get to work from home on Mondays. So on Monday I won't have to go into the office, and I'm sure Winston will be very happy about that. Um, the rest of the week is in the office, although I definitely sense potential to maybe have Fridays be a remote day as well. So I'll kind of see how that goes the longer I'm there, and see if I can kind of push for that, because even yesterday on Friday when I was in the office, there was hardly anyone in the office at all. I think everybody was sort of out for the day, and I was like, well, this is silly for me to be here when I can work from home. I can be set up to work from home. And so they did actually let me leave at about 1 o'clock and work the rest of the day from home, which was kind of nice. So I got to come home early and be with Winston a little bit, and then that just extended my time in the evening a little bit more, because I didn't have the commute home, so I could just have dinner right after work and then walk Winston and then be ready to stitch by a little earlier than I normally am. So all of that was good, and it was really nice to just have that flexibility where they're willing and able to let me do that. So we'll see how it continues in the future, but I think it'll be a good fit. And I do feel very lucky, because the part-time bookkeeping gig that I had started, that basically prepared me for this. It's the exact same version of the QuickBooks software that I'm using now that I used for the part-time job. And so a lot of what I was doing, I kind of already knew how to do, which was a good feeling coming into the job. And makes the learning curve a little bit less. So really it's just a matter of learning the nuances of their business and how they do their invoicing and collecting, and being able to remember all the little details and just applying it all. But overall I am really happy. They put me in an office that I have a space to myself. There's nobody else that uses that office, which is really nice. There are people who use it on Mondays, which is why I will work remotely on Monday. But the rest of the week, it's just me in the office. And I can't believe that, because some of the other offices have like 3 people in them. And I think I'd feel a little less comfortable in those spaces. And yeah, I just somehow lucked out and got the office to myself, which is really nice. And everybody that I'm working with has been really great. They're really sort of willing to answer any questions I have, and yeah, just have been super helpful, which has been really good. And yeah, I'm just kind of able to work at my pace. Nobody's really, micromanaging me, which is a great situation. As long as I'm getting the work done and doing it accurately, it seems like they're going to be pretty hands off once I get everything kind of in place. And that I am really grateful for. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a good fit, and definitely a learning experience to get me some more knowledge about bookkeeping, and who knows where it will go from there, or what will happen. I'm also kind of getting familiar with the new working neighborhood. I've never worked in that area before, and there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of places to choose from for lunches. So I am trying to pack as many of my lunches as I can, at least here in the beginning, until I sort of work out what kind of budget and how much I'll actually be getting paid once I get my first paycheck. But the options are there for having good lunches. So grateful for that. Now you see here, I am kind of breaking my own rules because I haven't filled in these top stitches in these two rows here. And the reason for that is one of these threads that's over here, it kind of loops back around and then continues going that way. So I want to finish these stitches before I come back up here, so that way I'm closer to just continue it over to the left. But what that means is I am breaking my rule, and in like this situation, now I have this stitch where it's fully surrounded, which is not ideal and not really what I want, but what I'm willing to do in this case to keep the thread moving in the direction and the movement that I want it to. And we'll park that one. So yeah, I'm really grateful for all of your support and all of your prayers throughout the last couple months. I'm really happy with how it's turned out so far. Obviously, it was just week 1, so we'll see how everything goes. But I am definitely excited to have landed this position, and I think it could be a really good fit for me. And especially, I do work better sort of on my own and just on my own time to get the work done. So I think once they see that and are able to kind of trust my work ethic more, I think there's definitely potential for even more remote time, which would be great for me and for Winston. So there are about 25 people in the office, I think, at this company, and everybody's pretty shy and pretty quiet. It's a very small office, so most people are out in the open in one kind of big area of like computers and desks. I'm sort of there's 3 offices that have doors. I'm in one of them, and then the other 2 offices have 3 people in each, and everyone else is sort of out in the open. And so I don't know if it's because that everyone's out in the open that they're trying to be, conscious of everyone else working in the same section, but there's really not a lot of office chatter or office talking that goes on. It's usually like people come in and they have their headphones in and they just kind of get to work and, don't even always say good morning. It's just kind of an interesting dynamic, which I don't mind. I'm happy to come in and do my own thing. But, at the same time, it's like, do I need to be in an office if I'm just going to go sit there and not talk to anybody? When I could do this same work from home remotely. Apologies if I keep getting in the close-up camera here. I think my setup is slightly different today, and that means I have to remember to keep my head further away. So this week I just sort of allowed myself to, as far as stitching goes, I allowed myself to just stitch on what I wanted. And the reason for that is I just wanted to enjoy, what I was stitching, and I couldn't be bogged down with trying to come up with or stick with plans, because I just had a lot on my mind with starting the new job and everything. So I did have a new start on Tuesday. If you've watched my latest Flosstube or some other of my videos, you'll have seen and probably know exactly which one I'm referring to, but that piece is started, so I'll share that on my next Flosstube. Hopefully I'll be filming on Monday evenings and then have it uploaded still on Tuesdays. So that was fun to work on that some. And then I also worked on my next Mania piece, which is Gaia, the Earth Goddess. So I think I will get the stitching done for her this weekend, and which is kind of cool because she was the last one on the original list. So I did make it through that list again. I didn't get to add any new ones this year, but that's okay. Life got busier for me than I expected, and that's all right. But I am happy that I made it through the list. So she will have some decent progress in my next video. And now today I wanted to work on this piece and stitch with you a little bit. So here I am. I will say, in a way, it's been kind of fun again to get to ride the subway and to kind of be out and about with normal people going to work. It's been fun to just, walk past some coffee shops or, see the city in a different way than I normally do, because I'm just home with Winston. So that's been fun. It kind of reminds me of when I used to go into the office and had my favorite coffee shop that was local that I would go to. And it's been good. There was one day though on the subway I actually was kind of scared. I was coming home from work, and we were just going on the subway like normal, and I was in, I think, the last car or the second to last car at the back of the train, and all of a sudden I kind of looked up from my phone and happened to look out the window about the time this all happened, but there was not an explosion, but something in the tracks that made a popping sound and shot fire right outside the window as we're moving on the subway. Everyone in the car gasped, because you felt the I don't know, jolt or the explosion sort of happen. It wasn't an explosion, it was maybe a spark, but you felt it in the car. So everyone in the car that I was in kind of gasped. We're all looking around what was that? Are we okay? And it was as we were pulling into the next station, so we could make a decision if we wanted to stay on the train or get off. But the craziest part was just the sparks that were, or the fire that happened right outside the window underground. That was, I don't think I've ever had that happen before. It only happened that once, and we went the rest of the way on that same train car, and everything was fine. But that was a little bit okay, maybe I don't need to be commuting to work. I don't want to be caught in a subway fire or explosion. But nobody was hurt or anything like that. It wasn't, I'm probably making it sound worse than it actually was. It wasn't anything like that, but it just was scary. It was a moment of oh my goodness, what's happening? Is everybody okay? Kind of thing. But we're all safe and sound. And I will say Winston has been doing really well this week. He had no accidents in the house. I don't know what he does all day. I think he might just literally sleep all day. Because he's like super excited to see me, but it seems like he's just getting out of bed when I get home. And yeah, so the minute I get home, I take him outside and we go for a long walk. And I know he's enjoyed that. So yeah, no accidents inside the apartment, which has been great. I was a little nervous about that. And also, I'm happy to say that he had his echocardiogram on Thursday to check out his heart murmur that they had, or that they found in him, and everything came back good. His heart is good; it's pumping normally. His valves are all working normally. Everything that they could check from the echocardiogram was good. They did notice the heart murmur there, but it wasn't big enough to warrant any sort of medication or any sort of change in diet or exercise. And yeah, they basically said he was good. He's also kind of cleared for anesthesia. So he will be getting his like dental cleaning done, because he does have like a dental disease that even brushing, like, it just doesn't take care of it for him, unfortunately. And so he's been cleared for that, which is great. So we have gone ahead and scheduled his dental procedure for June, or the end of June, I think. Wanted to space out some of these bills because even though the echocardiogram was good news, it still was like right around $1,000 to have the test done. So I was like, well, I paid $1,000 to find out he's healthy and good. And I don't think I'll do that test again until he starts exhibiting some symptoms from the heart murmur. Until that point, I think I will just wait, is what I'm thinking right now. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of expensive, so I wanted to space out those bills a little bit. So his dental cleaning will be coming the end of June. But I am super happy and thrilled that he's still healthy, he's still good, and we'll just move forward. That was the most important part anyway. And I was glad that at least like I did the work to know, so I did that, and now we can move forward, and I don't have to worry so much about this heart murmur. So that was good news. But so I basically on Thursday I dropped him off at the vet, and then he stayed at the vet all day because the procedure wasn't until the afternoon, and so he basically had like free boarding at the vet that day. And Thursday night when we did finally get home, of course he was so happy to see me when he saw me at the vet. He was in his little carrying bag, and they brought him out to the lobby area, and the nurse was still holding the bag, but he heard my voice like talking to the receptionist and kind of checking out and things. And he started going crazy in the bag, like just whining for me and wanting me. So the nurse handed over the bag, and he was thrilled to see me. And he was so excited to get home. And then he was exhausted on Thursday evening. He basically just slept. And I think he was just so tired from being in a new place all day on Thursday and probably seeing new dogs and just a new environment. So, and then Friday, of course, I got to work a half day. So it really wasn't a bad first week for him. He had 2 long days on Tuesday and Wednesday, and he did great. And then the rest of the week wasn't so bad. So he survived, and I know that we'll both get used to this new routine. He kind of understands what the word work means now, and I think he knows what it means when I tell him that I have to get up early and go to work. I think the biggest adjustment for me has been trying to find time to run. because I used to run in the mornings, and now that I'm working and have to like do all these other things in the mornings, there's just not as much time. And so I basically have had to get up even earlier to run. So I'm up at like 5:30 in the morning to go for my run, and that way I have time to come back and take a shower and feed Winston and then walk Winston all before I have to be at work. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I'm super happy to have landed a job and to have this. It's just figuring out the new routine. And because I'm getting up earlier in the morning, that means I'm more tired at night. So come like 9:30, I am exhausted and ready for bed. And that's just getting used to the new routine. It's funny though, when I get up at 5:30 in the morning to go for my run, some mornings Winston does not even come out from under the covers. It's like he knows that is not his time to get up, and so he is completely happy to just let me get up, do my thing, get dressed. I always tell him, I'm going to go for my run. I'll be right back. And most mornings he does not even stir under the blankets. It's like he hears me and he's like, okay, Dad, you go do your thing. I'm going to just stay here and chill, get some more sleep. And then when I come home from my run, then he's like up and sort of ready to start the day and get up out of bed. It's like he knows, okay, now's my time. So that was kind of my week in a nutshell. But thank you again all for the support and checking in on me. I felt so lucky and blessed to have so many people asking how the job went and how my first week was. You all have made such a support system for me, and it just felt so great. I tried to get back to all the messages, but it just made me really appreciate everything that I have here. All the support and all of the people who really do care about me and are asking about me. That felt really, really nice. I think last time when I talked to you, I had been watching Severance, and I finished season 2. It was just as good as season 1. I really enjoyed that show. It was very suspenseful. And so then I was kind of looking for new things to watch on Apple TV, and I remembered that there was a new movie called Eternity that I wanted to see with Elizabeth Olsen. And it's sort of this interesting concept of like, when you die, you get to choose your eternity. So you go into this sort of, waiting room, and you get to choose from all these different options they have for eternities. But once you choose, you can't take it back. And so you go and you live in that eternity kind of forever. And basically, this woman, when she dies, her first love from when she was really young, who was killed in a war, he is there in the waiting room, and her husband, who she'd been married to for like 40 years, had also died, and so he was there in the waiting room. And so she has to decide what eternity do I pick with which of these men? It's a really kind of silly concept almost in a way, and yet they really made it work. And it was such a cute movie. It was sort of like a take on a rom-com in a way, and I just really enjoyed it. So if you are able to watch Eternity, it's just kind of a fun, you don't have to think too hard, but a fun little movie. And I cried. I think I cried 2 or 3 times during the movie. It was, which I was not expecting. So I liked it more than I thought I would. So I watched that on Apple TV. And then I was looking for something else to watch, and I started Palm Royale, which is with, oh my goodness, there's so many fabulous women actresses in this show, but it stars Kristen Wiig and Allison Janney, Laura Dern, Carol Burnett. Who else am I forgetting? There's just so many wonderful actresses, and it's kind of this socialite, or this woman who is hoping to get into the social scene in West Palm Beach, into the club that's there, and it's been really fun too. Oh, and Ricky Martin is in it randomly. He's in it. But I think there's 2 or maybe 3 seasons of it, and I haven't watched any of it, so I just finished the first season, and I was really enjoying that too. That's Palm Royale. Again, all of this is on Apple TV, and the only reason I have or I'm watching Apple TV right now is because I got a free 3-month subscription through something that I purchased. I can't even remember what, and kind of thought, well, if I have the subscription, why don't I just watch as much as I can on Apple TV right now, and then once that's over, I can go back to all my other shows and things. So that's why I've been kind of watching all the shows I can on Apple TV. But it's been fun. It's nice to have something going in the background as I stitch. I'm so far behind on Flosstube. Oh my goodness. I think because of work now, and I just have not, I'm so far behind. I probably am like weeks behind. I don't even remember the last video I would have watched, but I'm hoping I can sort of figure out a time or a place to kind of get back to more Flosstube watching, because I do miss it. It's like, the people that I watch, they are my friends, and I want to know what they're up to, and I definitely want to see what they're stitching on, and so I do miss them. So I need to sort of figure that out, how I can keep that going. But I think that's just normal in life, right? We all go through these seasons where sometimes life is just so busy we don't have time to stitch or watch Flosstube or watch as much of it, and that's okay. The good thing is they're always there, and I can go back and catch up if I want to. And all that being said, that just makes me even more appreciative of the fact that you take some time out of your busy schedule to spend with me, because I really do appreciate that, and I feel very honored that you choose to spend your time with me stitching whatever else you might be working on. I think since I started filming these Stitch With Me videos, I've had people say they are doing laundry, that they are cleaning, that they are quilting, needle pointing, embroidering. We've had so many different activities all join me while I stitch on this piece, and that's awesome. I love that. So continue on with whatever you're working on while I'm stitching, I'm happy to have the company and happy that you chose to spend some time with me. So this top part of the frame is definitely an easier section. I find it easier than the side of the frame over here. And that kind of makes for nice stitching as I'm chatting with you here. And just like that, in the first 40 minutes, we're basically through the top like brown section of the frame, and now we'll get into these beautiful purples and reds of the darker inner part of the frame. So it actually goes fairly quickly. I don't know how many stitches I'll have in when I'll count at the end of the session, but it feels like it's kind of smoother stitching and goes pretty quickly. I'm actually getting a little further over in the diagonal than I should be, and that's just because of the flow of the stitches. So I need to kind of get back on track with the diagonal. With the original diagonal, I guess. It's kind of hard to believe, but we are, right here, this is about just over halfway of my Q-snap. So I am going to have to like shift this over in probably the next 1 or 2 diagonals, which is wild to think that it's already time to do that. That went by pretty quickly. But this piece, I'm telling you, this is just one that I'm still really enjoying every time I get it out. I really just enjoy working on it, and I'm excited to just keep seeing more and more of it as it comes together. I know here in these early diagonals, we've only got one sort of motif that we're working through or working towards. But as we get further down the chart, then we will have, even as we go along the same diagonal, we'll have multiple different motifs that we'll be working in. So I think that will be fun as we get further along. I know a lot of you asked, like, how far on the diagonal are you going to go? Are you going to go like all the way to the end of the page and just keep moving your Q-snap? And the honest answer to that is I don't know yet, to be honest. I think that's my plan. That's what I'd like to do. But the reality of it is, do I really want to move my Q-snap? Do I really want to move my Q-snap that many times? So I guess I'll have to see once I get to the point of moving it, what I decide. I do think it'd be fun to like be able to work on the diagonal and the length of the piece, though. Just like my Under the Oaks pattern from Mereshka, I like being able to like work the whole diagonal of the whole piece, because it just gets you into different sections, and then it doesn't feel quite as boring or tedious, maybe. left a very short thread here. Not entirely sure why I did that, because that's probably only a stitch that I get to do. But I guess every little bit counts, right? I always forget though how far one strand on 25 count actually can take you. Bless me. That's those allergies from the blustery morning this morning on my run, because there were definitely things like flying around in the air. Yeah, I definitely forget how actually many stitches you can get from a short piece, so it's good I kept this. I think I might be able to finish this whole little section of this color in this strand, so that actually might work out perfectly. One last stitch here for this color. That's great. And we'll mark it. Hopefully that will hold. It's not really long enough to do my normal parking method over there. I don't hear the birds anymore. They must be past their breakfast time. Must be a little quieter at the moment. I don't know if you can hear all the dogs barking, but it reminds me of the Twilight bark from 101 Dalmatians. Where all the dogs start barking. I'm surprised Winston didn't. It's funny, he barks less at other dogs barking than he does at sort of people in the hallway. It's really like intruders coming into his space that he's concerned with. just one stitch of this color and then park it. So some of those threads go very quickly when they only have a stitch, and then they keep moving to the left. So you really just do a stitch of them and then park them to the next diagonal. Maybe that's why the top of this frame just has a nice flow to it, because you kind of grab the floss from this side and work it over to this side and then park it. It's a nice sort of directional flow of the pattern. Take another little sip of my coffee. Coffee is the one thing that I will need to get used to at the new place, because they do have a coffee machine. It's really fancy. It makes lattes, espressos, regular coffee, but they don't have decaf in it. And that's kind of what I have been drinking a lot lately, because I found that regular coffee just gave me the jitters too much. And I just felt much better after drinking decaf. So I probably will not be using, unfortunately, what they have in the office. So then I thought, well, okay, I'll just make my decaf coffee here in the morning and then take it with me. But I realized I didn't even have a travel mug. So I did purchase one on Amazon, and it's just a cute little black travel mug for coffee. So I think I will try that this next week on Tuesday and see how that goes. Bringing my own coffee to work. Because I find if I have no coffee, then I am like really tired and sort of sluggish. But if I have, just regular coffee and not decaf, then it almost makes me too anxious and jittery. And I didn't like that feeling. So I need to have my coffee, but I also need it to be decaf. But all that kind of stuff I'll figure out. I guess that's enough to park, is it? A couple more stitches in there. It's just this section is just really nice, because it's like I get to the next row and the first stitch here has the parked thread of the color that I need next, and then that color fills in all the stitches that are missing in here. So it's a very nice way of doing it, with parking with this top section. And I'm not working in a million different colors of thread in a 10 block or a 10 stitch area. It's like I just take one color and work it all the way over, and then grab the next color and work it all the way over. It's kind of nice. like I said, I think we're just about at an hour now. So I don't think we're going to get into this section. I think that'll be just enough time to finish this frame. But hopefully that means I'll have time to work more on this piece. In the next little bit, and then I can share more of my next Flosstube on Monday or Tuesday, but when I film on Monday. I'm hoping to spend a lot of time stitching this weekend, although I really should clean and do some laundry. I think I'll do my laundry tomorrow. Maybe I'll clean in the morning. All those things that come with normal routines and chores in life. Can't just stitch all the time, even though honestly that's what I'd love to do. We just have a very slow hobby that has so many amazing patterns and things to stitch. And yeah, we just don't have the time. We just don't have enough time to stitch. Even if that was our full-time job and we had no other thing to do except for stitch, we still wouldn't be able to stitch all the patterns we wanted to. There's just too many amazing pieces out there. And it takes time. And I don't really want to rush through it just because I want to finish a piece or because I want to, I want to enjoy the process of it. That's why I like stitching. And that's what's important to me, is the process of it all. The birds must have heard me because they are back. Speaking of birds, I think a while ago in one of my Flosstubes I shared a video of the two birds who were building a nest above my neighbor's door. And I've been watching that nest, and I've been seeing her sit there in the nest almost every day. She's like pretty much always in the nest. And today when I got back from my run, I looked up at the nest and she wasn't sitting in there, but I could see something in there. So I watched for a little bit, and sure enough, a little bird kind of poked its head up. Not enough that I could take a video of it or get a picture of it, but there's definitely a baby bird in there, and he or she is not so baby anymore. It looked like the bird might be ready to go out on its own soon. It was getting pretty big for the nest. I think there was just one as far as I could see, but that was kind of exciting to see, that whole process of just these two birds building their nest together, and then suddenly there's a baby, and now the baby is grown. I don't know, just kind of fun to watch all in this short little season of spring. I found it quite amusing. All right, now this color, got a few stitches of it here, and it does go down further, but I don't really have much thread left, so I think I'm just going to finish what is over here to the left of it, and then I'll park it, and when I get down further I will just start a new strand of it. Because I don't think this would have gotten me much further anyway. Right, it's just about at an hour. I think I'm going to maybe do another row or two with you, and then we'll call this session good. I'll let you know how many stitches I got in, and I'll try to get this edited and uploaded so that maybe it will be there on Sunday morning for you. I do really look forward to these sessions. I know we're not actually stitching together, but there is something really nice about just being able to spend this time and, yeah, stitch and chat. Just like I enjoy the time when I get to spend with my Patreon members on the Zoom calls. That is really fun for me as well, to get to know all of them and see their beautiful stitching. And you know, for a hobby that we don't always know a lot of people locally who stitch, we don't have friends who stitch in person. It is really nice to have these videos and just have some company. That stitch I already have a parked thread down lower, so I actually am going to end that thread. Because I'm not going to need it. And for that one, since I have leftover thread on the needle, I just pop it right back here in the needle card holder. And so the next time I need this color, I don't even have to pull a strand of floss. I can just grab the needle and start stitching, which, as you know, I've talked about before and I just love. Okay, let's see if I've got this color anywhere. I don't think so. I think I have a little bit of a better idea. A little bit of a better idea of what my stitching level is going to look like going forward, because it's definitely not going to be as much as before, and I'm just not sure I'm going to keep temperature stitching in the mix, because I just don't think I'm going to have time to dedicate 700 stitches each week to temperature stitching, and then, you know, stitch on Saga and stitch on this piece. I think that would be all I would get done every single week, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I also want to have flexibility and time to sort of work on what I want. Oh, this is going to pull right through. Yep. Sometimes it does that with the one-stranded loop start. You can just kind of pull it right through. So I always like to tug it and just make sure that it is going to hold, because I don't want it to come undone. Sometimes I think it's the thread that might be just a little bit more slippery or something. Or maybe it's the way I did the loop start that time. That one seems like it's going to hold better. Now here we have one, and I will tell you the correct term now that I know it, but we have a ninja stitch, and I think it was the last video where I was asking you what the difference between confetti was, or if confetti was used for a bunch of color changing, or if it was used for these, like, where there's only one stitch of a color. And basically I learned that confetti stitching is when, yeah, you have a number of stitches of the same color but amongst a lot of other colors, so it's just a confetti of colors, kind of. And then the times when you have, like this, a ninja stitch, is where you just have one stitch of one color, nothing else around it in the same color. That's called a ninja stitch. So that's what I'm doing now, because just this one stitch of this color. That's all we got. And obviously those ninja stitches take more time, because you have to start and stop your thread, and it's only one stitch. Oops, got that in the way now. There we go. See, obviously they take a lot longer because you're starting and stopping. But that's kind of, again, why I like the diagonal method, because it allows me to, I just need to do that stitch at that time, not wait on it, and then have to come back later and do a whole bunch of these one-off stitches. It's just kind of like, well, just this one stitch, I do it and I move on. And look at that, 2 colors in a row. We had the thread on the needle ready to go. I love it. And this color here is kind of the bottom of the frame. So the very next row will be the first row in the motif, which is exciting. I really don't mind this frame because I do think it is pretty, and I think it adds like a level to the piece. It's just a nice kind of way to sum it all up. But I am grateful the frame is not like any larger than it is. I think if it was like wider or taller, I don't know how I would feel about that. About having so much frame to stitch and get through. Whereas this one just feels like it's a nice touch to the piece, but it doesn't, it's not like a slog to work through. And yeah, one session like this, we are through the top part of the frame in a diagonal, so it's really not that bad. So I'm just trying to figure this out. I think I missed a stitch in the row above. So I just have to unmark that. Not a problem. I think I'll just catch it on the next time. Okay, let's get into this next row. I'm excited. Oops, and I just put that in the wrong place. And it's dangerous on full coverage to come right back up in the hole you just went in if you need to log it, because there's so many threads underneath that most of the time you can't come back up in the exact same place. So it doesn't always come right back out where you stitched. That stitch needed to be over here. This row I've only got this one other thread parked here. So I will use that thread and we'll see what other colors we need to add. And actually this might just be the one stitch of this color. I don't see anything else of this color anywhere nearby. So we're just going to end it. This thread already had a needle, so that's why I took it off the needle and put it back. All right, we've got a little 310, a few stitches of black to do in the top of this motif. Since this is the first line of the motif, we're out of the frame now. But unfortunately we are at an hour and I think 20 minutes already. So after this row, I think I will stop the video, see how much progress I made, and then hopefully for the next time you see this, I'll have gotten a little further in the diagonal to get more of the motif done. So even though we didn't see anything new or exciting in this stitch with me, I am really grateful that you stuck with me as I worked on the frame, because it's all got to be done, and it is more enjoyable to work on it while you're here. I will show you my little sidekick real quick, because you can see he's there. You also might notice what he's laying on is one of my socks. If there's one thing that he likes, it's stealing socks. It's just something, he doesn't chew them, he doesn't make a mess with them or anything. He just, if there's a sock laying around, he will steal it and put it in his bed, and that will become his sock. It's almost like his little safety, I don't know, something. But I guess when I went running this morning, my one sock did not make it into the dirty laundry bag, so he snatched it up. And of course had to bring it up here on the chair. But he's just been sleeping. just going to go ahead and do that stitch right now because I know I need that color all the way over here. So I just want to park it there. Okay, now we're at the last color of this diagonal. So I'm going to put in these final 2 stitches, or 3 stitches, whatever it is here, 2 stitches. And then we'll call it quits. I'll show you where we got. I will say I can already see in the next diagonal, it looks like we hit a nice big block of, or a nice big section of block stitching. So that might help the next diagonal to go even a little faster. Because we'll be getting into some block stitching. Which again, I haven't looked at the whole pattern of this piece, but from what I have seen, it looks like there are some sections of block stitching where you just run with the same color. And then there's other sections with a lot of confetti like this eye right here. So it just kind of depends. But I think that'll be a good change of pace because really we haven't had any block stitching in this piece yet. The blues and the yellows were nicer and maybe a little bit more of it, but it's not like it's been a big section of block stitching. So yeah, so what we're getting into next, well, it should be kind of fun. And I'm actually going to do the 2 stitches underneath since that's part of this diagonal. But then I'm going to park it in the row above. So I'm going to just do those now so I can move forward. And just park that there. All right, so that's where we got. So we did this little section right in through here, got more of this frame done, and did this first row of under the frame. Yeah, so I really hope I get some more of this section done for the next time I get to share this on a video, but we'll see. We'll see if I have any more stitching time on it this weekend. I'm not sure, because I do want to finish the stitches on Gaia. I think I'm about halfway through the stitches I need on her. So that will probably be my project for tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see what else I can work on with this. So thank you for joining me. Today I put in 146 stitches, which is higher than my average on these videos. So 146 because it was a little less confetti and kind of flowed a little bit better in the top section of the frame. And yeah, thank you for joining me and Sleepy Winston. So hope you enjoyed seeing the progress on this. Keep watching and more will be revealed as I keep going. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.